Approach 45 Foxtrot, 1 minute prior.
Yes, all aircraft in the vicinity of the Weeping Water Airport. Parachute jumping on 1,500.
Welcome to Skydive Radio, the world's first skydiving podcast. www.skydiveradio.com.
All right, let's go to safety first with our good friend Brian Germain. Today we're going to be talking about jumping near big weather. Hey, Brian, how you doing tonight?
Hello, David. I'm doing well, as always.
Today's safety first topic is about jumping near thunderstorms. We know that we have to maintain at least a mile horizontal from clouds above 10,000 feet, right? 2,000 feet horizontal 2,000. Distance below. But maybe a mile next to a big thunderhead that's building isn't enough. We've heard, I think probably most of us have heard the story about the guy that ejected. This was back in the late 50s.
William Rankin, right?
Punched out of an airplane that had flamed out or come apart or something, and ended up getting sucked up into that thunderstorm under canopy. And boy, that wouldn't be a fun experience at all. What do you think as far as safety of like a big weather system that, you know, and maybe it even looks like it's not coming at you. Maybe it looks like it's going to pass the drop zone to the side. But at what point should we say, no thanks?
Well, better safe than sorry with these things, because a gust front can come in well in advance of a storm. And I'm sure you've been there too out west, where you see the big dark cloud coming in and you think, well, we can squeeze one more load in, right? And you think, all right, we can get out low if we had to. If you have that thought, you should have like a pattern recognition program in your brain that says, no, I'm taking my shit off and I'm walking in and I'm popping a beer. It's too unpredictable. I've been there. I'm sure you have too, where you see the circus tent coming down at Quincy. I
was there that year. It's probably happened more than once.
It has happened more than once. I remember whole packed rigs tumbling down the road. It's terrifying how strong winds can get. And yeah, it's true. People say, well, but we live in Denmark. It doesn't really happen here. Hey, I was in Denmark where I got essentially sucked up. I landed about 10 minutes after everybody else. And it was another one of those things we figured, how bad could it be? It's just a little bit of a dark cloud. And it came in so fast that I landed safely. Thankfully, I was on a really small parachute, and I wasn't backing up. I've got a lot of experience backing up under round canopies. But that's not the worst scenario, is going backwards. The worst scenario is having your parachute collapse at 75 feet and dropping you into the ground. I just came back from a drop zone that had a really bad catastrophe like this recently, where the whole load landed off because the wind picked up to about 75 miles an hour, and everybody was going backwards, landing in amongst the trees, and your parachute is then starved of air and you drop into the ground. So not fun. Not fun at all. They actually had a number of ambulance rides. So the main thing is that you do your best to survey the scene and approach every skydive with an attitude of maybe instead of I have to. This is getting back to the I have enough jumps thing. If it doesn't look right, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And if you were wrong about your appraisal and you say, see, we could have made the jump, great. That situation you can live with. It's a little bit of an ego bruise. It's one empty slot in your logbook. Believe me, you'll have now lots of opportunity to fill up that logbook.
Do you think once you make those decisions a time or two, it maybe gets easier to make it the next time?
I think so. Yeah. I think it gets easier and easier. Scott Miller said something really profound years ago. I don't know if everybody knows who Scott Miller is. He's a great canopy flight instructor who has since retired. Hopefully we'll lure him back into the business someday. But he said, in my experience, the bravest person on the drop zone is the first one to scratch, right? Because if everybody's got that momentum, we're like, go, 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 we're going, especially if it's a big way, nobody wants to scratch off a big way. You get that sort of group momentum, and you end up in the air wishing you were on the ground.
And that first person does it, and then 10 other people in the group go, oh, thank God.
thank God somebody stepped up, because I wanted to scratch too, but I didn't have the balls to do it. So grow some. Scratch, when it's appropriate. Grow some ovaries if that's what you got.
Okay. How high did you get sucked up? Tell me a little bit about your story again. You actually gained altitude when it happened to you?
Yeah, I gained altitude on an 81 square foot canopy.
Wow.
I didn't gain that much. I basically lingered at between 3,000 and 4,000 feet on the edge of a cloud. I thought, hey, look at this dark thing. Let's surf over near the edge of it and see what kind of updrafts we can get. And I was thrashed around. It was really not as much fun as it sounds. It was a very long canopy ride, but you can always just pull high on a clear day and get the same length of canopy ride without wetting yourself. Yeah, it was dumb, and I will never do it again.
All right. Well, Brian, we're going to check out more of what you're doing. You've got a YouTube page, don't you? You post a lot of stuff up on your YouTube page.
I do. Yeah, it's under B.S. Germain, as in Brian Stewart Germain. And I've got a ton of videos. Some of them are educational. Some are just my kid jumping off a cliff into the water or whatever. But most of it is skydiving related, and I think you'll find it's very entertaining and well put together on the whole.
All right. We're going to check it out, and we're going to talk to you on the next episode. Thanks, Brian.
Right on, Dave. See ya. Woo!
Approach 40 Foxtrot, jumpers away descending, and we're done for the night.
Says 40 Foxtrot, thanks. Radar service terminates, squawk 1200, change divisor frequency. You guys have a good night.
Thanks for the help.